Ich begrüße Sie zu einem weiteren Keynote, das auch gleich auf Englisch stattfinden wird. Ich führe auf Deutsch ein für diejenigen, die noch kein Übersetzungsgerät haben und das möchten. Sie haben hinten die Möglichkeit, sich eines zu holen. How to Assemble Singularities, das ist der Titel des nächsten Vortrags. Und Singularität, das ist ja grundsätzlich ein Thema, über das sich noch viele streiten. Ob und wann dieser technologische Zustand tatsächlich eintreffen wird, dass sich KI explosionsartig vermehrt und ja, die Zukunft der Menschheit damit auch ein bisschen ungewiss bleibt. Was bleibt? Trotz allem ist die Frage, wo der Mensch in dieser Zukunft stehen wird. Und das ist genau das Thema, mit dem sich unser nächster Speaker intensiv auseinandersetzt. Alexandre Pachulski ist der Co-Founder und Chief Product Officer von Talentsoft GmbH, übrigens die Firma, die die Party heute Abend sponsert. Und er hat dieses Startup 2007 gegründet. Es ist ein Softwareunternehmen für Talentmanagement, hat derzeit 700 Mitarbeiter und 10 Millionen Anwender. Er hat aber auch Visionen, und zwar die Vision, dass er sagt, dass Schule und Technologie verbunden zu einem großen Mehrwert führen kann. Und deswegen beteiligt er sich zusätzlich an der Gründung einer alternativen Schule in Frankreich, um die Talententwicklung von Kindern zu fördern. Und er hat auch ein Buch geschrieben, 2018, das heißt Unique, noch auf Französisch, das kommt dieses Jahr auf Englisch raus. Vielleicht kann ich nachher auch kurz mit ihm darüber sprechen. Ich wünsche Ihnen eine gute Unterhaltung und viele Inputs. Welcome, Alexandre Pachulski.
Guten Tag, and that will be all for German. So I'm French and I'm going to do the presentation in English, so I hope you'd be nice with me before, because I didn't have a clue about what you said. But, and I hope that this presentation at lunchtime will interest you. So first, a question to start. Who doesn't have a clue about what this title could mean? Please raise hands. Okay, makes sense. It's made on purpose. So do not be worried. Yes, it's related to HR. It's related to talent management. But I wanted to start with a kind of overview on what is happening within our society today. And I wanted to talk about this singularity thing that we have been hearing a lot recently. More exactly, I want to talk to you about technological singularity. So I guess the same hands would raise if I asked who knows what it means. But I'm rather going to ask you something more simple. Who has seen the film Blade Runner? So you know what technological singularity means, actually. If you remember correctly, on the left, if you remember, so Harrison Ford, Deckard, is doing a test with Rachel to know if Rachel is a replicant or a human being. Do you remember the scene with the test Voigtkampf? Well, actually, this Voigtkampf test refers to the Alan Turing test. And Alan Turing was saying that at some point, if you are talking to a machine without knowing it's a machine, then we could say that technological singularity happened. This is what technological singularity is all about. It's about this very moment, this very special moment in humankind where machines could be as intelligent as human beings. And you've got many movies that are talking about that, actually. In the center, you've got the film Her, with Scarlett Johansson and Joaquin Phoenix, when Joaquin Phoenix is falling in love with an OS. On the right, you've got, obviously, 2001 Space Odyssey from Stanley Kubrick, with HAL 9000 that take the control of the ship. And just in the last 2 days, I saw 2 Netflix movies talking about this technological singularity. And actually, Why am I talking to you about that? Because this technological singularity, when it will happen, it's supposed to change many things. And we are quite scared about that. But why should we be scared about this moment? So first, who has got Netflix in the audience? If you look at your Netflix homepage, and you got Black Mirror, you got Person of Interest, more recently, you got Zoe, you got Extension, you got AI Mother. It's all about AI. It's all about technological singularity, and let's be honest, it's not necessarily very optimistic. It's all about dystopia. I had to stop watching Black Mirror because I was starting to be depressed. You look Black Mirror, you look Westworld, you look Person of Interest or Extinction I was talking about. It's all about dystopia, and more exactly, it's all about this moment where machines are going to take control on humankind. So it's not necessarily very positive, but we could say, okay, it's science fiction, we don't care. But if you just focus 1 minute on Person of Interest, so basically you've got cameras watching people and try to predict who is going to commit a murder. You can say, okay, that's science fiction. Not that sure. Because right now, as you know it, in China, in London, you got plenty of cameras watching people and trying to predict who could commit a murder. So suddenly, it's not a science fiction TV show anymore. It became real. You think about Black Mirror and this episode that everyone knows where you got social feedback, and this social assessment will determine the fact that you can or cannot have a credit, go into a gym club, into a restaurant. Science fiction. Scary, but science fiction. No. It's happening right now in China. So suddenly, even yesterday when I was looking at this Extinction, it's not necessarily to watch this TV show. It's not very good. But anyway, it's scary because you wonder if it could really happen and when. And then you got the news. So I don't mention AlphaGo in 2016 that won in front of Lee Sedol at the Go chess, the Go game. I don't mention the fact that 2 years ago, Liberatus, an AI playing poker, has won in front of champions, but it was one-on-one game. But here, this AI, Pluribus, has won in front of 4 people in the same time, 4 champions playing in front of an AI, and the AI has won. An AI has won as games of Warcraft, and so on and so on and so on. So suddenly we say, wow, is it possible that AI became creative? Is it possible that AI becomes able to deal with uncertainty? Because in poker, the problem is that you do not know what cards your opponent has in his hands. So you play with very uncertain factors. You play with in front of emotions, and a machine can win. We can think, okay, it's just about odds and calculation. And fortunately, human beings, we still have intuition. We still have creativity. Are you sure about that? Did you hear about Emily Howell? Emily Howell, it's not an artist. It's an AI that is writing some classic pieces. And honestly, when you listen to it, you cannot imagine it's an AI. So how does it work? It has listened plenty of Tchaikovsky scores before, and suddenly it kind of creates music. The Shimon robot is improvising on jazz because it has listened to some Thelonious Monk piano pieces. You got my former teacher, François Pachet, a French guy, that has created flow machines. You can open Spotify after, listen to flow machines. It sounds like Beatles. and it's really good. And you would say, okay, but it sounds like Beatles, so it's not original. I don't know in Germany, but in France, all the artists are not very original neither. You are always inspired by someone. So what is the difference with AI? We don't know. And obviously, you can say, well, why is he talking about that? We don't care. Not that sure, because the problem is that, obviously, it has an impact on the labor market too. As you know it, with all the studies, you got the Frey and Osborne studies saying that half of the American jobs could disappear in the 10 years. You got another studies saying that 85% of the jobs of 2030 don't exist today. Another study saying that half of our current skills could be obsolete by 2 years. So what it says, whatever the studies are, whatever are the figures, it says two things. First, let's be very cautious. It's not about all the jobs that are going to disappear, whether it is 40, 60 or 70%. It's a lie. Or more exactly, it's not precise enough. Question is, which part of our current jobs will be automated? This is a real question. It's not about our jobs, the fact that they are going to disappear or not. No. It's about that they are going to be automated or not. And the important thing is at which percent. And it's a major issue, because if you think about that, the difference between a car that has been at 100% automated or not, the difference is that if it's automated at 100%, it's the Google cars you see in California right now. But if it's automated at 99%, there will be a human being within the car for the one remaining percent. Question is, what will be the percentage left to our jobs, and which part are we going to keep? And that's really the question that Harari is asking in his latest book, 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. Harari doesn't seem that optimistic. And basically what he's claiming is that thanks to, or because of all the data AI has got on us, AI are going to know us better than we know ourselves. And what it means is that in a very near future, you should have more confidence in an AI making a decision for you than you making a decision for you. And this becomes scary. And think about it. You could see here your next doctor. This is your next doctor. Why? Because this connected fridge, someone has got a connected fridge in the audience? Yeah, Elton, excellent. So you will tell us what a connected fridge is supposed to do. It's supposed to, so it's IoT, Internet of Things. The fact that it's connected, it's not extremely interesting. What is really interesting is the connection between your fridge, maybe your Apple Watch or Fitbit or whatever IoT you wear on you, and they exchange information, and suddenly they will say, oh, Elton, you should be worried a little about your weight. It's a joke, man. But maybe you should pay attention to what you eat. So I am your fridge, and I can tell you, you eat too much. You should remove this, you should buy that, and since it's connected to internet, it's going to order it on Amazon Go or whatever you want. And suddenly, it's going to decide for you what you should eat or not. It takes care of your health. Is it a problem to be healthier? No. But think about it. On a Saturday night, you're depressed. Maybe you lost the one you loved and she left you. He left you. And you want, obviously, under your cover to watch TV, binging whatever TV shows, and obviously eating some ice cream, plenty of ice cream. And your fridge will say, no way. You won't eat ice cream, it's bad for you. You don't care. You take your phone, you order it on Amazon, and Amazon say, your fridge told me you can't. Is it the future? Are we living in a Black Mirror TV show here, or do you think it's realistic? And is it a kind of new dictator? We don't know. What is it supposed to do? What are you going to ask this fridge to do for you? These are good questions. You know who is this person in the car? It's you, it's me. Obviously, it has happened to me already. Following a GPS, Google Maps, that told me to turn left, and obviously there was no road. But it's Google, and Google has the truth. So I went left, and when I was in the middle of nowhere, wondering why I followed this path, I just thought, did I become stupid here? Or was I wrong to believe my GPS that is supposed to get the truth because it's got all the data? This is a good question. Harari is saying you should listen to it whatever it takes. Maybe it's wrong. And obviously Nick Bostrom is worst. Harari is very optimistic compared to Nick Bostrom, compared to James Barrett with his latest book, Our Final Invention, talking about AI. Nick Bostrom writing Superintelligence, explaining that, very simply, machines will be much more clever than us, and at some point they will wonder, do we really need human beings anymore? That's exactly the Extinction movie on Netflix I was talking about. And that's all the movies you know. I, Robot, Isaac Asimov. Basically, for those who have seen I, Robot, suddenly a robot is going to decide to kill a whole part of humankind because basically human beings do not protect human beings. They are a danger for themselves. And so they are going to take care about humankind. And they've got to kill some of us. Obviously, it's science fiction. Do we really take care of Earth? Not that sure, looking at the planet. So, could it happen? I don't know. And this is the difference between the Terminator, you know, the fantasy. Basically, if you talk about AI to my mother, it comes back to the Terminator, and they are going to kill us. It was in 1984. James Cameron is going a very negative overview on AI that takes control over human. This is a T-800. What is very funny is that 7 years after, the same James Cameron is shooting Terminator 2, and the very same Arnold Schwarzenegger T-800 comes to save humankind. It's the same Terminator. It's the same T-800. Why is it different? Because it's been said to act differently. And this is my point here. Honestly, all the ones who are scared have forgotten one thing. Artificial intelligence, artifact, they won't become intelligent by themselves. We are the ones creating AI. We are the ones developing algorithms. We are the ones setting goals and assigning goals to AI. So question is, what are we going to ask them to do? So it's not about being scared. It's about making decisions, and about making decisions now. Probably not in 15 years. And what is interesting with Garry Kasparov, that has been really hit hard by AI since he has lost in 1997 in front of IBM Deep Blue. He has thought a lot and worked a lot on AI collaboration, AI and human beings collaboration. And what he explains basically is that machines have calculations, but we have understanding. Machines have instructions, and we have purpose. Machines have objectivity, but we have passion. So, it's time to make this very choice. what will be left for human beings? What do we want to let to AI, and what do we want to keep for us? And now you understand when I took these 15 minutes talking to you about that. It's because coming back to the labor market, coming back to companies, coming back to HR, this is an interesting choice to make for HR. What is the point of human beings, of people at work within companies? What are we going to ask them to do in the next decade, in the middle of machines? So it's time to make a choice. And what I suggest here is that the choice we could make first is to leverage AI to discover human singularity. You won't be able to answer the questions, what's left for us as human beings, if we do not really understand better what makes a difference between a machine and a human being. And basically, we in the audience are and will remain different from machines because we got this human singularity, this unique way to look at the world. Our fears, our ambitions, our doubts, our dreams, who we are, who we want to become, the way we interact. All that stuff mixed together are doing who we are and are creating unique individuals that we are. On the left, Michael Fassbinder, that I guess you know here, this famous director. In the middle, Robert Doisneau, the French photographer that you probably know this picture. And on the right, Pablo Picasso. I don't say that an AI cannot paint. I don't say an AI cannot take pictures. What I say is that we, as human beings, can develop, can assume, can accept this human singularity and discover what makes the difference between you and me. And this is this difference that we got to offer on the labor market within companies and more globally in society. Question is it that easy to discover how unique we are? What makes me unique? I'm not that sure. It's not that easy. And sometimes it takes decades to really understand what we've got to offer as human beings. To find what the Japanese called our ikigai. Who knows this ikigai concept in the audience? It comes from the 14th century. It has been appearing again in the 70s in Osaka, in Japan. And basically, it talks about singularity under another angle. Ikigai, it's all about the combination of what you love doing, what you're good at, which is not the same. Because I'm sure you know plenty of accountants that are very good at what they do, but right now they want to become yoga teachers at 40. I got plenty of them around me. People that are very good at what they do, but they are fed up doing that. And they want to switch. So you got to be good at what you do, but you got to continue to do what you do because you love it, because you want it, because it's your aspiration, it's your ambition. And what you're good at and what you want to do has got to match with what the world needs, and more exactly, what the labor market needs, what your company needs. And you got to be paid for that. Otherwise, right now, it's not called work if you're not paid to do it. Sorry, we don't know each other, so you can be very open and honest. Who thinks in the audience that he has found or she has found his or her ikigai? Please raise the hand. You don't have your managers and boss here, so you can be here. Thank you, Elton, for raising hand. It's very difficult. And once again, I come back to you. I can tell you, yes, the Nordics, in Sweden, in Finland, in Denmark, the scholar system is very different from what the German one or the French one is. But we are not encouraged that much to discover on singularity. And so, what I believe in is that technology possibly could be the best opportunity we got to discover who we are and to discover our ikigai. Let's think about that. Amazon, they have been using an AI to recruit and to detect profiles they could hire. Interesting fact. They discover that they discriminate. It happens that all the profiles that the AI was pushing was white men, 30 years old, quite educated. It's discrimination. Did they do that on purpose? Have they developed an AI to discriminate? No, obviously not. But they had just fed the AI with 10 years of resumes between 2004 and 2014. And it happens that it was mostly men 30-year-old, white, educated. So the AI is reproducing these biases. Should we incriminate Amazon? It depends. If Amazon becomes aware of that and change it, so now they are more intelligent than what they were, and it's good. If it wasn't a bias and it was on purpose, it's something different. This is what it's all about here. It's about technology and AI giving you, offering you free will. Because now you will know. Now Amazon knows. So it's not the same anymore. Think about the children. You got to school. We went to school. And basically the school is measuring IQ. Basically the school is following one kind of intelligence, the logic intelligence. That's what the IQ is measuring. But Howard Gardner has demonstrated that you got nine different kinds of intelligence. You got the artistic intelligence, you got plenty of ways to express intelligence. The problem is that the scholar system is made for one kind of intelligence. When you bring, that's what they do in Canada, that's what they do in the US, when you bring an AI within a classroom and that the AI is following the way children are solving problems, you discover what kind of intelligence a child is using. And so, after that, you can adapt the teaching to this kind of intelligence. And suddenly, you're not good or bad. We can just say that you are probably not very well adapted to this kind of logic. So we can educate our children taking into account their personality, their mindset, their possibilities. It could change everything. And this, you know this kind of application on your iPhone or Android. Who has already used this well-being app on your phone? One person? Interesting to discover that, for instance, if I asked you, are you really using Facebook anymore? You could say, oh no, Facebook, done deal, I don't use it anymore. That's what I thought. And I used this application. And I discovered that for a guy that pretend not using Facebook, 2 hours a day is a lot. I didn't even know. I was genuine explaining I don't use Facebook anymore. But the data told me something different here. And that's all about all these apps measuring how you eat, how you sleep, how you walk. In a way, if it exists, if you've got a market, a world market just to study the way you sleep, it's because we don't know ourselves that much. And when it comes to talent management and HR, for instance, what we try to develop, we have developed, as many vendors, what we call the social feedback. Social feedback is about knowing ourselves better. That's it. If you rate my slide deck here and my presentation, and you give me a rate between 1 to 5, in half an hour, I will be more clever. I will know that maybe I should switch also, because I stink at doing that, or maybe I could continue. but it will be very useful. And it will be even more useful if you say you are good at that, but you're not so good at that. And this is what takes place in companies today. Let's try to structure work. Let's try to organize work around projects, more than job openings and positions. Let's try to get feedback not once or twice a year during the media review or the appraisal review, but let's try to get feedback all along the year through the project. Let's ask to our peers. Let's ask to the ones that witness what we are doing on a day-to-day basis. Not your manager that maybe didn't see you once in action. So obviously it's useful, and obviously artificial intelligence can also help you. Because if we crunch all the data we got on the people at work within an organization, you could possibly get and push some insights about, did you know that actually you got this skill, but you never mentioned it? Neither on LinkedIn, neither on your talent profile within your HRIS. You never said you were good at that. Why? Maybe because no one never asked you about that. Because you didn't have the opportunity to express something. But maybe the AI crunching all the data could suggest a skill. And maybe it could open you to some new opportunities. That's what we could hope from AI. But let's be careful here, because I'm not saying that I want to live in a society where AI is going to increase individualism. And you know this is a threat right now. If you look at Instagram and social media in general, people, they don't care about their vacation anymore. The only thing and first thing they think about when they arrive in front of the Grand Canyon is, do I have a good angle for my picture on Instagram? It looks like it's just about what kind of image I can give around me. What kind of impression could I give? I don't say that AI is all about increasing individualism, trying to look for singularities, and basically turning the life of managers into hell. Because if managers have got to customize what they do, what they say, and everything, taking into account egos and monsters, no, it's not what I'm saying. What I say is that if you want to create a team, if you want to create a collective, if you want to create a company, a society, it's all about what can I bring as an individual for the common good, to the team. And I believe that technology could help us in that matter. You know that obviously by art. It's not about adding talents. It's about the union of talents and the way they interact one with another that create value. I'm not a huge soccer fan, so do not be worried if it's not your case neither. It will be only 2 slides. But this is the French team, the Parisian team, Paris Saint-Germain. They have spent millions of euros to gather these 3 guys, including Mbappé. And honestly, except French championships, they win nothing. They win nothing. They have added great talents, but it seems that these talents, they don't want to play together. And so they don't win any European championship. You take the Netherlands with the Ajax, they are almost all unknown, and they were almost all unknown, but they won in front of Juventus, in front of great teams, because it seems that they really wanted to play together. They interact well one with another. And so individually, maybe they are not stars, but together it becomes a great team. And this is what HR is all about, actually. It's not about hiring the key talents, the 15% of superpowers people. No. It's about creating an environment, creating teams, about offering a management that will allow individuals to express what they've got to offer and to give their best together. And this is what it's all about. It's about going from human resources. I'm sorry, but human being is not a resource. With the singularity I've talked about, no, you cannot use an individual whether the way he wants to commit himself, whether whatever his fears, ambitions, passion, dreams, and so on. What you got to do is taking into account each singularity and focus on interactions, focus on relationships. And honestly, my friend, it seems that even us, for years, in the HIS business, we didn't pay enough attention to interactions, to teams, to the way people were creating great teams or not. So it's not just about individuals, it's about teams. And that's why we try to do here. We try to leverage AI, to leverage all the data we got from our environment on our open platform, to be able to push at some point when a manager wants to create a project, when a manager has to hire someone, we want him to know who would fit better with this or this person. And honestly, HRIS don't help you that much in that matter today. They tell you, this profile is great, wonderful. They don't tell you, does this profile match with this one? And do the two of them will do a great duo? No. But this is what is at stake right now. And I really believe that technology and AI can help us doing that. And at the end of the day, it's all about the purpose. And you see the Simon Sinek book starts with why. It's all about the why. The why is the fuel. The why is the reason why people gather together. That's why community are so important. Because when you talk about NGO, for instance, it's a community of people that have decided with their free will to work together to support one purpose, one why, one goal. If you come back tomorrow to your work and ask, do you know what is the purpose of my company actually? I doubt that you got all your colleagues pushing the same answers. And yet, is this purpose not the only reason why we should join forces and get the best out of the team? Probably. So here are some questions to end this talk. That are the questions of the next decade, actually. The first question, if we want to create a society with a purpose, a society that can really gather people together to achieve something bigger than us, which is, I recall, is at stake looking at the way the planet is today. It's an education issue. I talked about AI, great. But as I said, artifacts, they are not going to become intelligent by themselves. So who is going to educate artifacts? Who is going to educate machines? You want to use them for recruiting? Well, can you define what is someone a good profile for you? You want to use it to assess competencies and skills? What does it mean to be in success? What does it mean to get this or this skill? How do you measure it? Are you sure everyone agrees here on the way to measure a skill, on the way to define a purpose, define an objective, on the way to recruit a profile? You got 5 managers, you will have 5 different profiles because everyone will come with what is supposing being the best for the company or the best for him. AI is not going to solve this problem. We are the one that got to educate AI and explain what we are looking for. And that's why you got this slide, because this is a movie called Chappie. Chappie is a robot that is supposed, that has been created to be a cop and to help cops. It happens that this robot is stolen by thieves and by gangsters. And it's very funny to see during the first half of the movie how this robot that was dedicated to become a cop becoming a gangster. Because actually it's all about education. This robot is nothing. This robot will become what you will make him. Make it, more exactly. Then data. As you know it, you got plenty of debates actually on the European Commission and so on with the GDPR about data. What are we supposed to collect in terms of data? To you, to me, as citizens, as employees, as consumers. And the problem is that today, artificial intelligence is mostly used by GAFA. So what do the Google, Amazon, Facebook want? They want to earn some more money. And so what is the data made for? To help them to collect some more money. This is a goal. Question is, what is the goal of Europe? What is the goal of Germany? What is the goal of your company? What is your goal? So if you want to collect data and get a good use of this data, first you've got to define why is it made for? What do you want to do with this data? You've got to prove to the ones you take the data from the way you are using it. And if you can show, if you can prove that the data you collect is made to, for instance, prevent someone to do an heart attack, yes, I'm very positive. I want to give my data to Google if Google helps me not doing an heart attack. Obviously, question is, do you know the intentions of the one you are pushing your data? No. So this is the HR issue around data. It's not about are we allowed or not to collect data. It's all about to do what? And how can you prove to employees, to candidates, that this data will be used with good intentions, and who is going to define what is a good intention? These are actually, it's true political questions, but at the end of the day, as HR practitioners, if you do not answer this question, I doubt that you can do a good use of AI. I doubt that you can, GDPR or not, regulate all this flow of data correctly. So yes, we got to make a choice, as I was saying. And yes, we got to commit ourselves, obviously, as citizens, but here, as HR practitioners, it's not finance, it's not communication, it's not different professions that are going to think about all that. It really belongs to HR practitioners. Why? Because in human resources, you've got human. So if HR doesn't think about all that, who in the company is going to answer all these questions? No one. And for sure, and I hear that many times, when I hear this question, as an HR, do you think I will be replaced? Well, if your job as a recruiter, it's only to sort resumes depending on education and the number of experience outside Germany, yes, algorithm will be much more efficient than you. Question, is it really what recruiting is all about? No. It's about human relationships. It's also about your gut feeling, about your instinct, about culture, about values, about DNA. And that belongs to us. And if you want AI to help you in that matter, then you got really to define and answer all the questions I've just raised. So, if I've been quite convincing, what I just wanted to tell you is that really the future is now and the future is really in the hands of HR. So I hope you will have a good use of this incredible opportunity that it has. Thank you very much.
Much. It was very inspiring. Wir haben jetzt auch die Möglichkeit zu fragen und um Ihnen das zu erleichtern und die Hemmschwelle zu senken, Sie können diese Fragen auch auf Deutsch stellen. Wir werden ihm ein Headset geben, sodass diese Fragen dann übersetzt werden. Ja, ich gebe Ihnen noch kurze Gelegenheit, um, genau, just from the back, zu überlegen, ob Sie Fragen haben oder weiß schon jemand, dass er eine hat. Vielleicht auch noch zu dem Thema Schule, was ich vorher angesprochen hatte, hier zum Thema Bildung in Frankreich. Irgendjemand? Okay, ich werde mal wieder mit einer Frage starten, vielleicht kommen Sie ja dann nach. Sie haben jetzt auch erstmal aus anthropologisch-philosophischer Sicht dargestellt, warum der Mensch nach wie vor wichtig bleibt, auch mit seinen individuellen Stärken. Das hat auch viele Argumente geliefert, die man an seine Mitarbeiter mit den Ängsten weitergeben kann. Können Sie vielleicht noch mal ein bisschen mehr konkretisieren, wie das nachher tatsächlich in der Praxis aussehen kann, solche Einsätze von KI, um diese Talente besser zu finden und insgesamt nicht nur die Mitarbeiterzufriedenheit, sondern auch die Produktivität zu erhöhen?
Okay, good question. I'm very happy to beat the records of number of headphones I can wear. Yeah. So 2, I can try 3. So if I understood correctly, your question, you want to know concretely how does it take place and how can AI help you tomorrow morning coming back to work, right? So the thing is, what we try to do here, it starts with very little things. You know AI when it comes to B2C. With Amazon, with Netflix, the promise is that if you open Netflix, we are going to try to push you the TV show that would match with your expectations and taste and so on. What we should do, coming back to an HR system, it's to try... Come again?
Jetzt ist es ganz abgegangen, sonst können wir auch mit auf Handmikro switchen. Ja, wenn ihr mir einfach ein Handmikro gibt, genau. Okay, nehmen wir das. You lost your other phone. Sorry.
No, 3 microphones.
Oh, it's better quality. Yeah?
I can have another
Yeah.
So what I was saying basically is that you already
Just a little bit closer.
You already
Yeah.
experience what AI can bring on your day-to-day life. I mean, we are using Netflix, we are using Amazon, and the promise around these B2C applications is that instead of you being lost in the middle of thousands of TV shows or thousands of books or whatever, these platforms will push you the content, will push you the product, the TV shows that you could like, because Netflix, Amazon, they are supposed to know you. So the question is here, could it be possible that HR systems, HRIS, know employees, know candidates enough to push relevant opportunities, relevant learning content, relevant job openings, and all that stuff? Question is how to leverage all the data we got on the candidates and employees to provide these kind of suggestions. And that's where it becomes difficult, is that AI has got to be educated, for instance, taking into account functions, taking into account geographies, culture, because obviously the way an AI is going to work in Germany or in France, it's not the same, because the expectations, the habits, practices, the way to work is not the same. That's why it's far more difficult than Netflix or Amazon. It's really about trying to really follow what is meaningful, to understand what could be the expectations and ambitions on people at work. So what we are doing at Townsoft, because we pretend being HR experts, we embed and educate AI to push like practices we know that can be good for a specific industry, for a specific geography. That's the interest to be European in front of all the American vendors. It's to, we've got a necessity to customize what we do because of the 27 different countries of Europe. And so we embed within AI what we know of HR, what we know of functions, what could be expectations, and then we ask on a day-to-day basis with smartphones, with whatever you want, did this insight, was this insight meaningful to you, yes or no? If no, then you continue educating AI exactly the way you say, I believe that this content of Amazon is not relevant, with the thumb like this or like this. This is what we are talking about when we are talking about education, distributed education. So Talentsoft provide expertise, and you provide the education saying, yes, it matches or it doesn't match. And obviously, no vendor can pretend being extremely relevant today, because this is a work in progress, and this is really about kind of research today. And all the ones pretending that they got a product that will match 100% of the time, it's not true. So we try, it's fascinating, and it's thanks to our 10 million users that basically we improve, make our AI improve on a day-to-day basis.
Haben wir in der Zwischenzeit eine Frage? Nein. Okay, ich stelle noch eine weitere. Wenn Sie meinen, für Sie ist das Thema abgeschlossen, Sie können dann schon gehen. Aber ich würde gerne noch auf eine andere Technologie kommen. Und zwar, ich bin Ökonomin und Journalistin und beschäftige mich intensiv mit digitalen Themen. Und ich persönlich wundere mich über diese Furcht vor Robotik und dass sie uns als Menschen übernimmt und uns auch alle Arbeitsplätze wegnehmen wird. Für mich ist das sehr weit weg. Aber was viel näher ist und worüber wir eigentlich überhaupt fast gar nicht sprechen, ist die Neurotechnologie. Und diese Neurotechnologie, auch mit Brain-User-Interfaces, ist tatsächlich diejenige, die unser Menschsein erhält, aber so manipulieren kann, wie wir es haben möchten. Und in China wird das schon eingesetzt in Unternehmen und auch in Schulen, um Schüler zu kontrollieren und auch um Mitarbeiter und ihre Konzentration zu kontrollieren. Und ich frage mich, wie sieht hier die Zukunft in Europa aus? Und wie sehen vielleicht aber auch die Chancen aus Unternehmenssicht aus? Da bin ich jetzt gespannt.
Now you scared me with this question.
Sorry.
Because it's worse than the Black Mirror movie. So for the next 5 years, to take benefit of the digital, before talking about transhumanism, before talking about hybridation, it's about education, but this time education of us, education of children. It's all about preparing ourselves, meaning developing the skills we will need in the near future to be able to take benefits from technology, because what we are afraid of right now is that the fracture is going to expand between the ones that are very familiar with technology and that will take benefit of it, and the ones that are still scared to do iTunes synchronization every night, and the ones that are already afraid in front of iTunes because it's complicated. How are they going to react when we will have to work with a machine, with a robot next to us? So we got to help people to prepare to this reality and develop some kind of new skills, taking risk, ability to discriminate, to be creative, to develop some more confidence in what we can do and how we can leverage technology. So that comes to education, and I believe that obviously you got schools, but when we are talking about learning within companies, it's got to be part of the learning contents within companies to help people to prepare these new skills for this future of work with robotics. And on a longer term, to come back to your scary question, I believe that the problem of hybridation, it's exactly what you said. Who is going to leverage which possibility? So we don't have to mention that in our history, each time we wanted to get a kind of perfect race with perfect people thanks to technology or not, it has always been the worst scenario. So I believe it's more about giving the opportunity to grab the technological opportunities, but maybe not fix issues, because once again, who is going to say that this behavior is an issue or not? So I would prefer hybridation and transhumanism being a way to be a kind of helping people to jump on their ikigai and maybe fill the gap in terms of skills of what they want to do, but not of what a society, a company, a team think it's good or not to do. And if this choice is individual and belongs to every citizen, I'm quite confident with that. But once again, as you can see that, it comes back to politics. So in the next decade, we will necessarily have to regulate at a political level. Otherwise, as citizens, I believe we will have some issues.
Thank you so much. You have also your book with you here?
Not,
we can buy it here, or?
Not here, but if you come on the stand, and we will manage for people interested to get it.
Okay, er steht auch jetzt für Sie noch für bilaterale Fragen zur Verfügung. Einen ganz herzlichen Applaus für ihn und gleichzeitig auch für unsere Dolmetscher da drüben. Dankeschön. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.